What is the worst/scariest thing that has woken you up? Actually just happened last week. Woke up to my dog growling and someone was shining a light into my window at 2 a.m. I was super out of it, and trying to process what was going on, since the light was coming from someone in my fenced-in backyard. Then my dog barked loud and the person ran away. A literal living nightmare of mine. Thank you for reminding me of the constant fear I had forgotten. Praise user Meta Uprising. Same here. Waking up to anyone I don't know is terrifying. I remember hearing a story of a guy who would sneak into people's houses and lick their toes when they were asleep. I don't think I slept well for a week after that. One important preface: at the time I lived alone, no roommates. One time I was taking a nap in my bedroom, happened to have a really horrible nightmare, and then woke up to some strange man standing in my bedroom shining a flashlight in my face while I laid in bed. Both of us freaked the fuck out. It turned out he was the maintenance guy for the apartment complex I lived in, finally responding to a maintenance request I had put in like 6 months before. He thought the apartment was empty, then heard me thrashing around from the nightmare and went and looked into the dark bedroom, blackout curtains, with his flashlight to see what was making the noise. After both of us recovered from our near heart attacks, he was extremely apologetic, and he did finally fix my garbage disposal, but Jesus Christ, that was fuzzing terrifying for a few seconds. What do you expect? Your maintenance request has been received. Please be home between June and September to accommodate our technician. Edit. People make mistakes. I know the difference between your and your. My typo doesn't make you any smarter. Edit 2. To the alt account that messaged me an insult. Thank you for your continued interest. I've told this before, but my son has taken to sleepwalking. He used to just stand by the bed, silently, until I'd snap awake and see his silhouette looming over me. Now, he's taken to turning on the lights when he's sleepwalking. I woke up one night, and he was standing there, turning the lights on and off, completely zoned out. I get him back to bed, and I think, fuzz this, I'm sleeping downstairs for the rest of the night. Around 3 o'clock I wake up. All of the lights downstairs are on. Edit. I go to a doctor's appointment after posting this and come back to see everyone's sleepwalking experiences. Cool stuff. Some general answers to repeated questions. It only happens every now and again, and it seems to come in what we've called storms. He'll sleepwalk for 2 or 3 nights, and then have a week or so off. We do keep the front doors locked. We don't shut our bedroom doors, though, because he has walked face first into them while sleepwalking, which, if you think a kid standing over you is creepy, wait until they slam the door open with their head. I've become used to it. My reaction went from "oh my god, what the fuzz," after the first few times to "damn it, again?" My wife, though, is creeped out. Neither my wife or I, or his younger sibling, have been sleepwalkers. Anyway, keep on walking in the sleep world. My math teacher calling out my name 6+ times in a room of 20 other students, and me slowly waking up while mumbling "sh be quiet," not realizing that the voice I was hearing wasn't, in fact, in a dream. Edit. Eternal gratitude for the silver. Oh yeah. I remember waking up to my gym teacher shouting my name, but thankfully nobody else was in the closet with us. Wait. My buddy and I were camping and saw a bear, so we decided to sleep in his car. I was still worried about the bear, so it took forever to fall asleep. Well, right after I fell asleep, I woke up to screams and something grabbing my face. I immediately started crying, knowing that a bear was about to rip my face off. Then I realized it was my friend having a night terror. I was livid. I imagine the bear was also annoyed by 2 random people sleeping in his car. Anyone here have one of those robotic vacuums? When the power goes out, those fuckers start wandering around lost, bumping into shit. Absolutely terrifying thing to be woken up by at 3 in the morning. I had one of those. I think their homing sensor/timer thingies got tripped during a thunderstorm. My old Rottweiler mix lost her shit. She was going senile and anything out of routine was terrifying, and broke it. I no longer have a Roomba. God rest its tiny, cleanly soul. It's okay, all good robots go to silicon heaven. They have tiny winged toasters on clouds playing harps there. A few years back I hear a thud in the hallway and my 4-year-old daughter screaming in pain. She had fallen and gotten a small but deep cut just above her left eyebrow. When I got out to the hallway, her face, hands and pajamas were covered in blood and she was holding her hands against her face. I thought she lost her eye. A quick trip to the ER for a couple of stitches and she was right as rain, but I gained almost all of my gray hair that night. Oh man, nothing like your kid bleeding copious amounts of blood to get you into superhero mode while giving you all the gray hair. Our only emergency room trip for my son was when he busted the back of his head open on a shelf. Like he had a red third eyeball on the back of his head. Cue the scene at the ER with 5 EMTs standing around helping calm him down while a doctor came in and just quickly stapled it back together. Was with my old dad in the ER one night and someone was carrying a crying little girl who was covered in blood down the hall. My dad got really upset, but I said that she looked like she was okay, just bleeding from the scalp and probably scared by being in the ER, which calmed him down. Those scalp wounds look like something from a horror movie. My 2-year-old standing over me with a kitchen knife. He wanted sliced apples at 4 o'clock in the morning, and somehow managed to climb up on table and pull out a knife. Now we keep them in the cupboard. Dang, kids are terrifying. Most of these stories are about super creepy children waking up their parents. There's a reason children's laughter without a kid nearby is terrifying. Apartment on fire. Actually, this week is the 5th anniversary. When I lived in an apartment complex, the fire alarms went off a few times, and even though it was always for some stupid reason such as smoking in the lobbies, or whatever, I always grabbed the pets, and waited outside for however long it took. So many people just stayed in though, cause they didn't take them seriously. I kinda don't wanna be trapped in a burning high-rise, so I'll take my chances and waste the time waiting, haha. I find that very wise. Good for you for not being complacent. In January of this year, a car ran into my bedroom at 1 a.m. Those asking for more info, basically I had just gotten home from visiting my parents and I went to bed around 12:30 a.m. At 1:04 a.m. a car ran into my bedroom/connected half bathroom. My bathroom is about 3 feet squared, so that was completely destroyed, and the car was partially in my room also. My roommate and I went outside after calling 911 to search for the driver. Thankfully he was okay. He was laying on the ground about 20 feet away from a car. He had emptied beer cans in his car and pill bottles. He told us he was 25, but we soon found out from police he was 19. This whole situation has been a mess because my landlord wanted to do all the repairs himself. I just moved back into my room last week and had been living in the living room for the past 2 months. I'm glad to finally have a bedroom again, but sleeping in that room still makes me nervous at night. I still can't use my bathroom after 10 p.m. because it makes me nervous. It'll be fine eventually, I just need to get used to it. So was it the screeching of the tires, the loud honking of the horn, the screaming, or the suddenly and explicitly loud crashing with bricks and glass flying everywhere, that woke you up? Or perhaps when you went to investigate, it was the sudden realization you forgot to renew your home insurance? My girlfriend's mother telling me there were 2 police officers and my mother at the front door. It was 4 a.m. and I was sleeping at the girlfriend's house. They had come to inform me my dad had died. That was around 14 years ago. I'm afraid to say that I don't think this sort of wake up won't happen again. I had my mom wake me up in my freshman dorm room with 2 public safety officers and my aunt there to tell me my dad has passed away in the night. Truly awful way to wake up, and I feel for you. Adoriju, wake up, I think the house is on fire. Turned out it was the downstairs neighbor burning his wife's car up. Edit 1, I was 8. The downstairs neighbors were the sort of white trash that make the people on Shameless look like bitch-ass punks. I still don't for sure know why he burned his wife's car up, but he did a thorough job of it. The thing was a burned-out frame that looked like the aftermath of those "Don't Drink and Drive" posters. I do know the insurance company ruled it was arson. 2, my username is a corruption of Adirondack Kaiju. I just made it up for my DeviantArt page. My name's not really Adoriju. 3, for the folks making the Simpsons references, it really was my mother waking me up, and I swear to God, I actually live in upstate New York, a few miles outside Albany. And no, we don't call them steamed hams. I have so many questions. Let's start with, where does the name Adoriju come from? India, according to Google. In grad school, my roommate standing directly over me, staring down at me. She couldn't decide if she should wake me up or not. She kept hearing this deep voice mumbling at inconsistent intervals and was torn between "there's someone in the house" and "I'm finally actually losing my mind." She was studying psych at the time. We finally figured out that it was the smoke detector wanting new batteries, but good lord, it was terrifying. /u/McLisquid, remember this? How does a beep from a smoke detector sound like a voice? I've only had experience with loud, shrill, awful beeps. It was one of those smart ones that talk instead of beeping. I'd only ever had the beeping kind before too, so that's partly why we were so freaked out. It was something along the lines of "please change the battery." Your battery is low. On repeat and inconsistent intervals. I was maybe 5-year-old. Woke up to someone banging on the back door, followed by gunshots as they entered the house. It was my ex-stepdad. He'd come to try to kill my mother. Thank God he was unsuccessful. Edit. She had been having a bad feeling for a few weeks and that kept getting worse and worse. They were so bad the day of that she asked a real close male friend if he would crash on the couch that night. Psycho X comes in. Gunshots. Male friend shot in the leg. X then proceeds to bite off male friend's ear all while mom is beating the guy with a kitchen chair. I honestly don't know what made him give up and leave. Maybe the hurt back and bleeding head from said chair? 30 years later I realize I never asked that question. Anyway, all this happened while I was hiding under covers in my bed one room away. Edit number 2 just called mom to ask cause I was really curious. She said he was stumbling around out of it from the chair hitting him over and over in the head, so when he was close enough to the front door she shoved him out of it and locked it. Then of course called 911. Poor close male friend, didn't do anything to the ex but got fuzzin' shot in his ear bitten off. OP's mom dated Mike Tyson, damn. Woman screaming for her life. Luckily for her it was a big apartment complex, and about 30 people got outside before they could shove her in the trunk. Her head was wrapped up in a duct tape mask. It was all quite fuzzed up. Do you have any more information about it? From what I remember, she was dating a member of the Indian Posse, which is a native gang in Canada. She was going to testify against them, so they beat and raped her in her apartment for a couple of days, before trying to move her to kill her. A 6.0 earthquake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Probably the most helpless I have ever felt. I expected my ceiling fan to fall on me. When you're lying in bed with no protection nearby, you basically just have to hold on and hope everything is alright. Mine was similar. 7.1, 8 a.m. My first night of living alone in my apartment. All I had was my bed, and I thought my building was going to collapse. Mine was similar as well. 6.2, 11 p.m. But it turned out to be 2 fat people getting it on upstairs.